Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Coffee with Keebz. I'm Jess, aka Keebz, your host, and today we're kicking off the first episode with an update for those that know me and a little backstory for those that don't. So, what's the purpose of this podcast? I really just want this podcast to kind of be an outlet for myself, and if it's an outlet for other people, that would be great. Like, I just want a space where people, myself included, can kind of just like share stories about what's going on in life and maybe offer some life advice. Maybe I don't know if I'm exactly the right person to be giving life advice, but maybe something that I learned in my life can help you, and vice versa. So just a little area on the internet that can kind of help each other keep our heads above water and keep pushing forward. So a little background on who I am. So I started streaming, I think I started streaming like in 2015. Maybe it was a little later than that. I honestly can't remember. I always say I've been streaming around 6 or 7 years, but honestly, I've been saying that 3 or 4 years. I don't know. Time is so weird now. I don't know. I've made content sporadically on other platforms. Like, I have some TikToks. I've made YouTube videos. I've made cooking videos. Like, honestly, I really would love to get back to making cooking videos, but I can't do it right now, unfortunately. So like, one day that'll come back. But for those of you that know me, know that like I'll like come out the gate and like make a ton of content, and then I'll just disappear for months, and it's just like an endless cycle, and it's been like that for years. And like, oh my god, I honestly don't know why some of you guys stick with me, but like, I love you and thank you. But yeah, so content creation has honestly never been meant to be a source of income for me. I always just kind of did it for fun. There was a very, very small span of time where I was like, let me just try being a full-time content creator and see if I can make a living doing it. I hated it. It did not take me very long to realize that it was not for me. I think after TwitchCon 2019, that was the first and last TwitchCon I will ever go to. I realized that there's too much drama. There's literally too much drama. And the streaming politics that come along with being a streamer on Twitch, it's just not for me. It's definitely for people that are mentally stronger, and I am not that. So, like, that's one of the many reasons I started taking a massive step back from streaming, because it was just not for me. The stress is not worth it. So I started taking a step back around 3-ish years ago. I started like really pulling back on how much I stream. I was streaming like 3 or 4 times a week, and then I ended up moving to South Carolina. And once I moved to South Carolina, I didn't have the same like setup. Like, I kind of had like a studio set up in my last place. When I came here, I didn't really have that same situation. So I started streaming a lot less. I was streaming like maybe once a week, sometimes twice a week if I felt like it. And I'd also like started a new relationship. So like, I just was like, well, maybe streaming is more of like not what I want to do. And I think with all the drama that had happened, and I was going through some other stuff, I was like, maybe I need to find another outlet. So then I started like a photography outlet, and I started going down a deep rabbit hole. And don't get me wrong, like, I love photography, but it was definitely a super hyper fixation for me. I definitely picked it up and I was like, this is it. This is going to be my life. And it wasn't. I love it. I love photography and I still dabble with it, but it's it's not what I thought it was going to be. It was not the outlet that I needed. I guess I could say it like that. And then the whole TikTok thing started. I started making TikToks, and then I'm not a TikToker. Like I'm not hip with the youngins. I tried. My girlfriend, she's a TikToker. I can't do it. Well, she's not a TikToker anymore, but she was when I met her, and that's how we actually met, was on TikTok. It's just not for me, and then I had some pretty massive things happen to me pretty soon after the whole photography rabbit hole. My dad almost died, and that whole time period was pretty intense. He was in the ICU for a week, and it definitely took a toll on me, because I definitely felt like I had to be the rock in the family and kind of try and help my parents through it. And for those of you that know me and have known me for several years and were around in the 2020 area, y'all know that I lost all 4 of my grandparents within a 2-month time frame. It was a lot. Well, I lost my dad's mom. There was a 2-year gap, but the last 3 all died within a 2-month time frame, and it was a lot because I was very fortunate enough to grow up with all of them. They helped raise me and my brother, and so losing them was rough. So anyway, so when the heart attack happened, we didn't know who to call. My dad has sisters, but they don't live in the same state, and it's not easy for them to just pack up and come to where we are. It's a lot, and especially because at the time we didn't really know what was going on. All we knew is he was in the ICU, and we didn't really know how severe it was until later in the week. And so this is something that my mom and I had to deal with on our own, and I think I bottled my feelings up, and I don't think I properly dealt with them because I felt like I had to be the strong person for both my parents. And it, I don't think it really hit my dad that he almost died until almost 2 years later. So I set my feelings aside, and I was like, okay, what can I do to make this situation better? Because in my head I was like, I've got to fix this. I know it's not healthy to think that way, and it's not I can't just fix things, but whatever. I tried. And so I started a Instagram account called Cooking for Dad, and I know some of you guys probably have heard of it. And it's just basically I took on the task of being the chef in my house and trying to cook really healthy meals for my family so that we could better our lives and just be healthier, and so that something like that wouldn't happen again. But the Instagram did not stick, but we still eat very healthy, I'll have you know that. I stopped uploading to it. I think I made maybe 20 posts to it. And hey, I still go look at that Instagram sometimes because there are some amazing recipes that I put on there. I'm just going to put that out there. I have no intention to keep posting on that Instagram, but I highly recommend checking it out because just to go on there and snag some healthy recipes, because there are some pretty delicious ones on there. My salmon bites that I make are a staple for my dad. My mom doesn't really like salmon, but my dad loves it, and so does my nephew. And so if you like salmon and you like brown sugar, I know the sugar part doesn't sound that healthy, and that's probably the least healthiest thing on that Instagram, but it's definitely worth a try because, oh my God, it's so good. Anyways, back on topic. So yeah, anyways, so when that Instagram kind of fell flat, I was just kind of like, what? I think I just wanted to like disappear from the internet because like mentally I was like trying to process everything, and then I was like, I don't know who I am anymore. Like, I guess I didn't really know who I was before, but when you almost lose somebody that's close to you, it just kind of puts things in perspective, but then also makes you question everything. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just, I don't know, like, it was just like, I guess got very lost, and I took a massive step back from everything and everyone. Like, I stopped talking in my Discord. I really only talk to like 2 people, occasionally 3 people, but you know, everyone's dealing with their own life. And I also don't like, I try not to like unload too much on my friends because like I know they're going through some stuff too, but like, yeah, I just didn't really talk to a lot of people, but my 3 best friends got me through a lot, and they have no idea how much they helped me, so shout out to them because I know they'll be listening. I just, while I was lost, I was just kind of like, maybe I should just like go back to what I do for a living. And I don't think anyone that has known me on the streaming world knows what I do for a living, but I'm in marketing, and I've had my own company for like 9 years, almost 10 years, and I've been very, very lucky. And like my clients, I've had like some pretty crazy clients and like crazy awesome clients, like, and I've just been very, very blessed in like what I've been able to do with my life, with my career. And I was very fortunate enough to not have to resort to a corporate job. However, after my dad's heart attack, I moved from some place that I had lived for over 20 years to a new place that I have never been before, don't have contacts. I basically had to rebuild my company, and I don't think I was mentally able to. I wasn't strong enough to sit there and be like, okay, I need to rebuild everything, and here's how I'm going to do it. So I think the easiest way to get back into it, my solution was to get a corporate job. And my God, did that start some shit. The imposter syndrome that I felt going through with this was absolutely insane. So I started on LinkedIn, I guess is where anyone would start, right? And I gussied up my resume like any new job hunter would do. And I started applying, and I didn't really hear back from anybody. And then 500 resumes submitted later, I got a call. Keep in mind, I had several interviews throughout this process, but like most of it was dead ends, or I'd get to like the final interview and just like, they're like, huh, we hired internally. And I'm like, fuck you. So yeah, like there was definitely interviews in this process, but anyone who's in the job market right now or has been in the last like year and a half knows how shitty it is out there. So like, yeah, I know you feel my pain because it's awful. So anyways, I finally get a call from this company, and I had the first interview, then I had the second interview. The second interview was horrendous. Like I kept losing power at my house, and we were like on a Zoom call. And so she calls me on my phone, and I don't have great cell phone signal. I usually use like Wi-Fi calling whenever I use my phone. So it was choppy. Like she kept not hearing me, and I'm like trying to tell her like, yeah, it went up 10% in this amount of time. And she's like, what was that? How much percentage? And it was just a fucking mess, honestly. And I remember hanging up and looked at my girlfriend. I was just like, yeah, I just bombed that. Like, there's no way they're gonna hire me, because like, who would hire me after that horrendous interview? But she called me later. I think it was later that day or the next day. I can't remember. And she's like, we're gonna give you the job and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my god, great, yay! And keep in mind that like, y'all, like I'm not trying to sound like cocky when I say this, but like, I've been running my own company for like over 9 years. And so like, I have had to work every position that you can think of within marketing. And I knew that I was taking a pay cut. But what I signed up for was significantly less work than it would be to restart my company. Or so I thought. Like, the role was for a marketing coordinator, and I thought it was gonna just be like, just an easy little like side gig where I like try to like soul search and figure out what the fuck I'm doing with my life, right? No, that was not the case at all. Like, at all. The first day, my boss tells me that, hey, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm leaving for 6 months to go on maternity leave. And you're going to be the only person in this department, and you can either sink or swim. She told me that verbatim. And I'm sitting there like, what? And like the imposter syndrome that I was having at that moment, like, it was insane. Like, I was already having imposter syndrome, because like when you have like, you submitted like 500 resumes, you've gone through like, I don't know, like 50 fucking interviews, and people are like, y'all, I've worked with myself and I've had employees, I've worked under people, like my mentor, like we just kept it real. We don't talk corporate speak. Like, we just say exactly what we mean. We say exactly what, like, the stats that we need, like, whatever. Like, we're not sitting there like fluffing everything up with corporate, I don't even know, jargon, I guess you could say. Like, we just say it. So, and I've never been in a corporate environment, so I didn't realize that everybody just speaks corporate, and they're basically saying a bunch of nothing and wasting everyone's time. And so I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like, do I know what I'm doing? Do I know how to be in marketing? Do I know how to build websites? Like, what is happening right now? Like, I literally was questioning everything about me and my job and my career. And I was like, I literally was like, oh my God, I'm shit. Like, I can't do this. Like, I shit you not, I didn't sleep for the first week that I worked there, because I honestly felt like I was like, they hired the wrong person, because I'm clearly not cut out for this. And I almost tapped out, but I didn't. I did not. I took it and I ran with it, and might have run my mental health into the ground while doing it, but whatever. After she left, I ended up completely like rebuilding the marketing department. There was literally nobody in the marketing department. It was just her and then me. So it was me, myself, and I. It was fine. And I ended up having like one-on-one meetings with the CEO every week. I mean, she wanted me to have one-on-one meetings every Monday to talk about everything I was going to do for the week, and then Friday to go over everything that I've done for the week. And I mean, I seriously, the first week I had alone with the CEO, I was like, this seems like a bit much. You know what you say? Like, we should just like not do this. And he's like, yeah, I agree. So I ended up teaching him a lot of stuff, and I actually really respect the CEO. He's a cool guy. He actually, when she came back, he pushed for me to get a 10% raise, and she ended up saying that I was bullying her into giving me a raise, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, I was extremely underpaid for what I was doing. I was making lower 60,000 a year doing everything. I was literally doing her job. I was building 2 websites for them, doing their SEO, running their PPC, and writing all of their content for blog posts, and I was running their social media, which, by the way, I started them a LinkedIn article that went out every other week, and guess who I got to subscribe to that? Fucking Netflix, Five Guys, and a few other big name people that you may or may not have heard of, but like Chubb, I don't know if you've heard of them, but yeah, like they're big in like the insurance world, I guess. I don't really know. Like, I didn't know who they were until I got into this company, but whatever. Again, severely underpaid for what I was doing. And so it got to the point where I was just like, I was trying to help my boss like understand what we needed to be doing in the department to make an impact, and it was literally like just talking to a wall. Oh my god, it was horrible on my mental health. Like it was awful. And like she would talk down to me and like make me, like there was one meeting where I stood up to her in one of the Teams chats that me, her, and the CEO were in. And I was like, yeah, I think the CEO needs to like join in on this call that we're about to have, and so that he can like maybe like assist in it. And the whole call, all I wanted was to understand what her priorities were. Because like as a leader, you're supposed to be able to tell your team like, okay, guys, this is everything that we have on the agenda. However, these 2 or this one thing is top of priority. We have to get this done by this time, and then we'll work on everything else and prioritize everything else. Like, I feel like that's not that difficult to understand. But when I was trying to explain that to the 2 of them, I felt like I was going insane. Because they could not understand. They could not comprehend what I was telling them. I was like, just tell me what your priorities are. And like, no, Jess, like that's up to you and your time management skills. Y'all, when she said that to me, I about lost my motherfucking mind. I literally almost screamed, but I had to like stay cool, calm, collected, and professional. You know what I did a lot while I worked in this train wreck of a company? I took a lot of walks. And, you know, for a really long time before working in corporate America, I would see like TikToks and like just videos all over the place, like take a walk, just go outside just for like 10 minutes just to clear your mind. And I was like, oh God, shut the fuck up. Like, you know, like whatever. That shit works. That shit probably is one of the main things that got me through this very short stint of a period where I was working with this company. Like, I took so many walks. I walked, oh my God, I was like doing like 10K steps a day, just because like anytime she would piss me off, I'd just be like, okay, fuck this. I'd just go for a walk. And like I had a mouse jiggler, and I just turned that bitch on, make it look like I was online, and I'd put on like do not disturb, and I'd just go for a fucking walk, or I just play video games. Like, it was awful. Anyways, I ended up putting in my notice, and I was like, you know, let me know if you want me to help you on like teach you how to do your job, essentially. Like, but I said it nicer, obviously. And she's like, no, I don't need anything from you. I said, okay. God damn. You know what she did my very last day? You know, I also didn't have to work the whole 2 weeks, but I did because I respect the CEO. She, on my very last day, told me to make her a PDF explaining everything that I do and how I do it. I literally looked at her and just laughed. I definitely did not do that. I signed out like an hour later and just packed up my laptop and mailed that shit right back. And the funny thing is like I'm still talking to them because the CEO told me if I was going back into marketing consulting, that he would love to find a way to work with me still. I ended up pointing out something to them like last week, that they were like breaking the law with something, and you know, obviously my boss, or ex-boss I should say, will not speak to me. So the CEO is like on these email chains and just emailing me like, thank you so much for telling us, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Maybe I'll keep you guys updated if you're interested. But anyways, I hope this like is like a fun little escape for people. Whether you take something from it or not, you know, at least you have like a little small set of time where you can kind of like relax and like hang out with me for a little bit. So yeah, like I said I don't know if I said it at the beginning of this, but like I said in the intro, at least I am reopening my Discord. I'll link it in the description. I'm in there more. We don't have a channel for the podcast yet, but we can make one if people want it. But yeah, if there's a topic you guys want me to talk about, let me know. If there's somebody that you would be interested in hearing from, like me bringing onto the podcast to chat with, let me know and I'll hit them up, maybe depending on who it is. Yeah. And also, like, I'm not opposed to, like, if you're in the Discord and you like want to share your story with me, like I'm not opposed to like us doing a podcast together. Like you're like, hey Jess, or just call me Keebz. Like it's so weird telling the internet that my name is Jess. You'd be like, hey Keebz, you want to like, can I like tell my story about this topic? And I'll be like, all right. And I'll bring you on, you know, like, and we'll have a grand old time. We'll have a cup of coffee and just chill. But yeah, so anyways, thanks for listening to this first episode. If you made it this far, you're a rock star. Yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.